The weather happens inexorably for all of us. With every sunrise, every sunset, every season that comes and goes, our bodies experience changes subtle but profound. Among these changes, there is one particularly silent but devastating one that affects millions of people around the world: sarcopenia. What exactly is it, sarcopenia? Imagine your body is like a fortress built with muscle bricks. With the passage of the time, these bricks begin to crumble slowly, one by one, almost imperceptibly at first. This gradual erosion of your body's strength is what scientists and doctors call sarcopenia. Progressive and inevitable loss of muscle mass, strength and function that accompanies the natural aging process. This phenomenon is not a minor problem or a simple inconvenience associated with becoming seniors. Statistics reveal an alarming reality. Approximately 30 out of every 100 adults over the age of 60 years already are experiencing this significant muscle deterioration. Think about it carefully. Look at your around. Out of every 10 people you meet with more than 60 years, 3 are losing his independence, its mobility, and its quality of life due to this silent process. To understand truly the magnitude of this challenge, we must go inside in the depths of our own body, explore the biological mechanisms that drive this transformation. Our muscles are composed of fibers similar to the threads of a precious fabric. With the passage of the years, these fibers decrease both in quantity as in quality. Type 2 muscle fibers, those responsible for the powerful and fast movements, they are particularly vulnerable to passing of the time. In addition, the natural process through which our body builds new muscle proteins, the protein synthesis, begins to slow down considerably. It is as if the factory that produces the materials to maintain our muscular strength gradually reduced its production, while the demolition continues at a constant or even accelerated pace. This invisible biological battle has consequences very visible and tangible in our daily lives. Imagine for a moment the frustration of not being able to open a jar of jam without help. The helplessness of needing support to get up from a chair. The constant fear of losing the balance while walking on the sidewalk. The embarrassment of having to ask for help carrying supermarket bags. These are not just inconveniences. They are significant losses of independence that erode our dignity and self-esteem day after day. The physical consequences of sarcopenia go far beyond these everyday discomforts. Scientific research has clearly established that the loss of muscle mass and strength is directly related to a substantial increase in a risk of falls, one of the most serious dangers for older adults. Every year, millions of older adults suffer falls that result in fractures, prolonged hospitalizations, and, in too many cases, the permanent loss of the independence. The statistics are overwhelming. People with advanced sarcopenia, they have up to 3 times more likely to suffer serious falls compared to those that maintain a good muscle mass. In addition, your recovery after an injury or illness is significantly slower and less complete. This physical vulnerability creates a vicious circle. The weakness leads to less activity, and the inactivity accelerates the muscle loss, worsening the initial weakness. But maybe the most overlooked aspect of sarcopenia is its profound emotional and psychological impact. Think in, how would you feel if you gradually lost the ability to do the things you love? The garden you cultivated for decades is now impossible to maintain. The trips you dreamed of during your retirement, they seem unreachable. Visits to your grandchildren become increasingly difficult because of the physical effort they involve. This gradual loss of capabilities can trigger intense feelings of frustration, sadness, and hopelessness. It is not surprising that studies have found significantly higher rates of depression among people suffering from advanced sarcopenia. The feeling of being trapped in a body that no longer responds as it used to do, it can take to an increasing social isolation, which in turn exacerbates mental health problems. Quality of life, that complex concept that encompasses our physical, mental, and social well-being, is seriously compromised by sarcopenia. Those affected report lower levels of satisfaction with life, fewer moments of joy, and a general feeling of having lost control over their own destiny. Faced with this daunting reality, it is natural to ask, is sarcopenia simply an inevitable destiny to which we all resign ourselves? Should we accept passively this deterioration as an inseparable part of the aging? The answer, backed by decades of scientific research, is a resounding no. Modern science has revealed to us that, while aging is inevitable, many of its most debilitating effects, as including sarcopenia, can be significantly delayed, minimized, and even partially reversed with the strategies suitable. This book is born precisely from this powerful truth. We have much more control over how we age more than most of us imagine. The preservation of our muscle mass is not a luxury or a cosmetic concern. It is a fundamental priority for the health that deserves attention, immediate and constant. Think in your muscle mass like a savings fund for your future. Every action you take today to maintain and strengthen your muscles is an investment in your future independence, in your ability to enjoy life to the fullest the years coming. Just as you wouldn't wait until the week before retirement to start saving money, you can't allow you to wait until the old age to worry about your muscle health. The time to act is now, regardless of your age current. Whether you are a young adult with decades ahead, a middle-aged person beginning to notice the first signs of change, or an older adult already dealing with the effects of sarcopenia, strategies we'll explore in this book can make a significant difference in your aging journey. In the following pages, we will invite you on a journey of discovery and transformation. We will explore the habits and practices of superagers, those extraordinary people who challenge our expectations about the aging by maintaining exceptional vitality until old age advanced. We will analyze the 7 fundamental habits supported by the science that can help you preserve your muscle mass and, with her, your independence and quality of life. We ask you not to read this book as a simple intellectual exercise. The information it contains has the potential to radically transform your aging experience, but only if the you translate in consistent action. The battle against sarcopenia is not won with knowledge passive, but with decisions daily and sustained habits. So, as you embark on this reading, we invite you to do so with a spirit of commitment and determination. Muscle deterioration doesn't have to define your aging experience. With the tools adequate and the mindset correct, you can build a future of strength, vitality, and independence that lasts throughout all the seasons of your life. In a quiet, Okinawa, Japan coastal town, Haru Miyamoto wakes up before dawn every day, at 94 years. Before the sun begins to peek over the horizon, has performed his Tai Chi routine, has worked in his small but productive garden, and is preparing the breakfast for his wife just 2 years younger than him. In the afternoon, it is common find it teaching his great-grandchildren the secrets of traditional fishing, or debating local politics with the mental clarity of someone decades younger, more than 10,000 kilometers away. In a bustling Barcelona neighborhood, Elena Ferrer, 80, 9 years, goes up 3 flights of stairs to her apartment carrying her purchases, refusing kindly offers of help from his neighbors. Twice a week he leads a reading group in the local library, and on Saturdays at Tomorrow, participate in dance classes where many participants look with amazement and admiration at seeing her move with the energy and coordination that many in their 60s years already have lost. In the Colorado mountains, Robert Johnson, who just celebrated his 90th birthday, continues to ski regularly during the winter and doing 10 kilometers in summer. His memory is legendary among his friends and family. He can recite entire poems learned in his youth and remember with precision details of events that occurred decades ago. Haru, Elena, and Robert are part of an extraordinary group of individuals, acquaintances in the scientific community as superagers. This term, coined by researchers at the Medical Center of the Northwestern University, describes people who not only live extraordinarily long lives, but do maintaining physical and cognitive abilities typically associated with much younger, Adults. The superagers challenge our expectations and preconceptions about what it means to grow old. While the dominant cultural narrative presents us with the aging as a period of inevitable decline, fragility, and limitation, these individuals exceptional demonstrate day after day that another way of aging is possible. They not only add years to their lives but life to their years, keeping independence, vitality, and purpose much after many of his contemporaries have succumbed to the dependency and deterioration. That makes the superagers be so different. Are they simply winners of a genetic lottery, blessed with an exceptional genetic code that protects them from the ravages of time? Or is there something else, something we could all learn and apply in our own lives? Scientific research is providing us with fascinating answers to these questions. While it is true that genetics plays a role in the longevity and the aging healthy, the studies suggest that it represents only about 30% of the equation. 70% remaining, the most overwhelming, is determined by lifestyle factors and habits that are largely under our control. Closer examination the lives of the superagers from diverse cultures and backgrounds. Researchers have identified consistent patterns in their habits and behaviors. These patterns provide valuable clues as to how we could replicate your success in our own lives. One of the most surprising findings is that the superagers maintain significantly more muscle mass than their peers same age. While most people lose between 30 and 40% of its muscle mass between the 40 and the 80 years, the superagers typically lose less than half of that quantity. This muscle preservation is not a coincidence, neither a byproduct secondary of his good general health. It is a key factor contributing to its exceptional vitality and longevity. Regular exercise, especially strength training, appears as a common denominator among the superagers from all over the world. Contrary to the popular belief that older people should avoid the intense exercise to preserve their strength, the superagers consistently challenge their bodies with meaningful physical activities. Whether it's lifting weights, practicing martial arts, swimming against the current, or simply working vigorously in their gardens, they maintain a level of physical activity that maintains and sometimes even increases its muscle mass with the passage of the years. Nutrition is another fundamental pillar in the lives of the superagers. Their diets vary considerably according to the region and culture. From Elena's Mediterranean diet rich in olive oil and fish in Spain, to the traditional Okinawan diet rich in vegetables and fish that follows Haru in Japan. However, certain beginning nutritional transcend these cultural differences. Superagers generally consume diets rich in high-quality protein, abundant in natural antioxidants, and surprisingly moderate in calories totals. But maybe the most fascinating aspect of the superagers not in their bodies, but in their minds. Psychological studies reveal that they share certain mental and emotional characteristics that seem to protect them from the debilitating effects of chronic stress and depression. Two factors that significantly accelerate the physical and cognitive. The superagers tend to demonstrate a remarkable psychological resilience in the face of adversity. It's not that their lives are free from tragedy or hardship. In fact, many have survived deeply traumatic experiences such as wars, losses, devastating personal hardships, or extreme economic hardships. The difference lies in as respond to these adversities. Instead of allowing the difficulties to define or the defeat, develop the ability to adapt, recover, and move forward with a remarkable positive attitude. This positive mindset should not get confused with a simple naive optimism. Superagers do not deny the difficult realities of life or ignore its problems. Rather, they maintain a balanced perspective that allows them to recognize the challenges without being consumed by them, and genuinely appreciating the joys and beauties of life even in difficult times. Meaningful social engagement is another distinctive seal in the lives of the superagers. Far from retiring of the world as they age, they maintain rich and meaningful social connections. Whether leading a community group like Elena, teaching younger generations like Haru, or actively participating in social causes like Robert, The superagers not only receive social support, but continue contributing significantly to their communities. A typical day in the life of a superagidor reveals the balance extraordinary that they maintain between physical activity, mental stimulation, and social connection. They wake up with purpose, devoting time to both physical movement and quiet contemplation. His days are structured but not rigid, with time dedicated to both meaningful work and leisure rejuvenating. They stay curious and interested in the world around them, eager to learn new things even in their years golden. What makes the example of the superagers are so powerful and inspiring is precisely that they are not superheroes with special powers, or individuals who have been subjected to experimental medical interventions. They are ordinary people who, through their choices daily and sustained habits throughout the time, they have created extraordinary results. His example shows us an alternative path, a different way of conceiving and experiencing the aging process. We are invited to reject the narrative of inevitable decline, already embrace the possibility of maintaining strength, vitality, and purpose throughout all stages of life. In the next chapter, we will go deeper in the 7 specific habits that the scientific research has identified as essential to prevent sarcopenia and promote aging, similar to that of superagers. These are not vague advice or miracle cures. They are concrete strategies, backed by solid evidence, that you can start implementing today same to radically transform your aging trajectory. Contemplating the extraordinary lives of Haru, Elena, Robert, and others superagers, allow yourself to feel both admiration and hope. Admiration for what they have achieved and hope because, with the knowledge, appropriate and consistent actions, you could join their extraordinary ranks. Imagine for a moment that you have in your hands a map of the treasure. Not a map leading to chests full of gold and jewels, but to something infinitely more valuable, a long life characterized by independence, the vitality, and the joy. This map is not drawn on yellowish paper with burnt edges, but in the pages you are reading now, same. The 7 habits we are about to explore represent the precise coordinates on this map. These are not mysterious secrets kept by an esoteric cult, but rather strategies, practices backed by rigorous scientific research. Together, they form an integrated system to preserve your muscle mass and, with Shi'i, your ability to live life in your own terms as you go in years. These strategies do not require expensive equipment, experimental drugs, or invasive medical interventions. They are accessible to practically any person, regardless of their age, current physical condition, or economic circumstances. All they require is your consistent commitment and your willingness to challenge some notions. Conventional on the aging, our first habit may seem counterintuitive in a beginning. After all, haven't we saying countless times that the stress is harmful to our health? However, there is a specific form of stress that, far from weakening us, actually strengthens us in profound ways. This type of stress is known as stress hormetic. Hormesis is a fascinating biological phenomenon through which moderate exposures to factors that would be harmful in large doses in reality stimulate beneficially adaptive responses in our body. It is the principle behind the vaccination, where small doses of a pathogen stimulate our immune system to develop defenses. And it turns out that this same principle can be applied to combat sarcopenia. They exist various forms of stress hormetic that have demonstrated particular benefits for the muscle preservation. Controlled cold exposure is one of them. When we subject our body to cold temperatures for short periods, whether through cold showers, immersion baths, or simply passing time outdoors in cool weather without wrap excessively, we activate physiological responses that favor the muscle conservation. Moderate cold stimulates the production of myokines, proteins secreted by the muscle that play important roles in the cellular communication and metabolic regulation. In addition, the regular exposure to cold active brown adipose tissue, a special type of fat that burns calories to generate heat, improving general metabolism and creating a more favorable hormonal environment for the muscle maintenance. Intermittent fasting represents another powerful form of stress hormetic. Contrary to the popular belief that we need to be constantly fed to maintain muscle, strategic periods without caloric intake can trigger rejuvenating cellular processes. When we fast for controlled periods, typically between 16 and 24 hours, we activate autophagy, a cellular cleansing process that removes damaged cellular components and optimizes the function of those who remain. In addition, the intermittent fasting causes spikes in the hormone of human growth, a crucial factor for the muscle repair and growth. The studies show increases of up to 500% in the levels of this hormone during periods of fasting, creating optimal conditions for muscle preservation. The exercise same, especially when reaches certain intensity, is another form of stress hormetic. When we carry our muscles up to near their limit, we create micro-tears in muscle fibers. It sounds negative, but it is precisely this controlled damage that stimulates the body to repair those fibers, making them stronger and more resistant than before. This process, known as supercompensation, is the basis of muscle strengthening. To implement the stress hormetic in your life, you can start gradually. Try to finish your usual shower with 30 seconds of water cold, increasing progressively the duration. Experiment with 16-hour fasting periods, e.g., eating dinner at 7 in the evening and having breakfast at 11 of the tomorrow of the day following. Incorporate short bursts of high-intensity exercise, such as 10 seconds of maximum effort followed by 50 seconds of recovery, repeated 5 or 6 times. Remember that the key to the hormesis is the moderation. Too much stress becomes harmful, while very little does not cause the beneficial adaptations we seek. Listen to your body and fix the intensity according to your level, current fitness and health. Eat more protein is the advice that probably beaches listened if you have ever shown interest in the muscle health. However, what many experts fail to mention is that when you consume those proteins can be just as important as the total amount you consume. Muscle protein synthesis, the process through which is your body builds new muscle tissue, does not occur at a constant rate throughout the day. Rather, it responds to pulses of amino acids, the building blocks of proteins, in the bloodstream. When you consume a protein-rich meal, the muscle protein synthesis increases significantly for approximately 2 to 3 hours, after which returns to its basal levels. This knowledge has profound implications for combating sarcopenia. Instead of concentrating the most of your protein in one meal, like many Westerners do in dinner, distributing your protein intake evenly between 3 or 4 meals maximizes these anabolic pulses throughout the day. The studies suggest that for older adults, the anabolic threshold, the minimum amount of protein needed to significantly stimulate muscle synthesis, is higher than for young adults. While a young adult can maximize the synthesis with approximately 20 grams of high-quality protein per meal, adults over 60 years they can need between 30 and 40 grams per meal to achieve the same effect. What does this mean? In practical terms, ideally, each main meal should include a generous portion of high-quality protein, approximately palm-sized. Excellent sources include lean meats such as chicken, turkey, or lean cuts of beef, fish, and seafood, especially fatty varieties rich in omega-3, such as salmon eggs whole, which contain complete proteins with all essential amino acids. Dairy products, such as yogurt Greek, cottage cheese, or cheeses. Combinations of plant proteins such as beans with rice, or lentils with quinoa. Breakfast that many would consider light, like a coffee with a piece of toast, misses a critical opportunity to stimulate the protein synthesis. Instead, consider options such as a 3-piece scrambled eggs with vegetables, or a protein shake with yogurt Greek and fruits. For him, lunch and dinner, make sure that approximately 1/4 to 1/3 of your dish is occupied by a high-quality protein source, and consider adding a protein-rich snack before bed, as studies recent suggest that 20 to 40 grams of casein, a slow-digesting protein present in the dairy products, can help minimize the muscle breakdown during sleeping hours. This habit does not require necessarily increase drastically your total protein intake. Rather, it's about strategically distributing the proteins you already consume to maximize their impact on the muscle preservation.